Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. I just first want to thank our Minister of Agriculture federally, Heath MacDonald, as well as Cody Bloy, who is the Parliamentary Secretary to Prime Minister Carney. Thank you to them, and through them to Minister Belanger as well, our Saskatchewan minister, that joined us in engaging with a number of producer groups from across Saskatchewan and across Canada, a number of canola producer groups, as well as a number of exporters and value-added exporters, canola crush, canola exporting companies here as well, to discuss some of the challenges that we're seeing in not only China, but also our largest export market, which is the United States of America. Joining us as well are our provincial ministers of trade and export, as well Warren Kading, as well as our Minister of Agriculture, Darrell Harrison. Throughout the discussion today, there was a number of points that were made, and very well taken, I think, by all levels of government. But there needs to be action and engagement at all levels, whether it be the federal level, the provincial level, and we need to work together with our industry groups, the exporters, value-added processors that we have, as well as our producers on a number of fronts. First is to protect the market share and the market access that we have into those significant markets, namely the United States of America, of which we're experiencing much uncertainty on a number of fronts, including agricultural products, as well as China, where we have seen first retaliatory tariffs on oil and meal to the tune of about 100%, or 100%, and more recently the allegations of dumping with an anti-dumping study that has resulted in a seed tariff of 76%. And we must remember the size and scope and the impact of just the canola industry alone in Canada. It is a $43 billion industry, employing over 200,000 Canadians each and every day. And so really 3 points as we move forward. First is we need to engage at every level. Myself will be in China in the next couple of weeks with potentially another opportunity for engagement before the end of the calendar year. To work alongside our federal government to ensure that we are advocating and advancing to ultimately the people that will find the resolution to this trade challenge that we have on all three products, whether it be the retaliatory tariffs on the seed and meal, or whether it be the allegations of dumping on retaliatory on oil and meal. And that is going to happen by our federal government and our Prime Minister meeting with President Xi and finding our way not only, I would say, to the opportunity and to a better place with respect to the canola industry, but the opportunities that we might have more broadly across Canada in expanding our trade and expanding additional production of all industries to a place like China. There will be opportunities for the President and the Prime Minister to meet. I think when you look at the global calendar of events, and we will be working alongside Cody Bloy as well as other ministers in an effort for that to happen. Second is ultimately at some point in time, should this temporary tariff last for any degree of or period of time, is we will have to work together to signal that we are there to support the canola industry, the exporting industry, and our agri-food industry more broadly. And those conversations will continue. And last, not least, but I would say most strategic and most important, is we need to control what we can control. Here as Canadians, more broadly, controlling the domestic market that we may have today and tomorrow in the canola industry, but also ensuring that we're working alongside one another to control the regulatory environment we have, so that all of the industries that are employing and providing opportunity for Canadian families from coast to coast to coast is a regulatory industry that is allowing for that investment, and it is a regulatory industry that is allowing for the sustainable production of the products that we, in this province, I will speak to, export to over 160 countries around the world, providing energy security, providing food security, and I would say increasingly providing manufacturing security to not only North Americans, but to many countries around the world. Our rail, port, and our access to the world is also of significance to the folks that we met in the room here today. So I want to thank Minister MacDonald and Minister Belanger for joining us via they have joined us digitally for today's meeting. I want to thank each of the producer groups as well as our exporters and value-added producers, our canola crushers that joined us here today. And I want to thank you, Cody, for joining us in person here today and for the conversation that we had with the bulk of the canola industry in our nation. And the opportunity that we had for a conversation prior to that meeting. So with that, I will offer any comments that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Premier. And I just want to start by saying thank you again for convening what I thought was a very constructive and collaborative discussion. Of course, this builds upon the work that the Government of Canada has been doing the day after China announced its anti-dumping tariffs on canola seed. Minister MacDonald and Minister Sidhu organized an opportunity to engage with some of the stakeholders, and today was a continuation of that dialogue about the way in which we can help support in the days ahead. So part of what I want to highlight on behalf of Prime Minister Carney, and he wishes he could be here. He was involved in a conversation with President Trump today, as is being reported, and he is committing to be in Western Canada in the next couple of weeks to continue the work around convening stakeholders and the Western premiers about what we can do to support the industry moving forward. This is, to Premier Moe's comments, a $43 billion industry across this country, primarily in Western Canada, but it is extremely important. And the government recognizes that, and there is a level of nuance about how best we go about to support the industry. The Premier touched upon this. Really, it's in three bailiwicks. One is what can we do within our own domestic policy front, and the Prime Minister has been very clear on other impacted industries around tariffs about what we can control at home. Part of the discussion today was around policies that we can do here in Canada to support Saskatchewan farmers, Albertan farmers, Manitoban farmers, folks who are involved, who are being impacted right now. Second piece is around market access, and a few things I would want to highlight. The government is engaging with Chinese authorities. In fact, next week there is what's called the Joint Economic and Trade Commission. This is an opportunity for Canadian authorities and Chinese authorities to engage on what we see as differences around trade. The Premier has highlighted the desire for more federal presence. The Prime Minister is cognizant of this because we know what that market impact means for Canadian canola farmers. The last piece is other regulatory pieces that we can take on, and this is some of the work that the government has been doing. It's a continuation of the conversation that started last week. I don't want to get out in front of the Prime Minister in terms of what that could look like, but there are a number of options on the table that we could take in the short term to help support the industry from a regulatory side, things that industry has been calling for, whether at the producer level or the processor level. So the message from the Government of Canada is very clear. We're very pleased to be here. Thank you, Premier Moe, for organizing this. The Prime Minister is looking to be in Western Canada in the next couple of weeks. We'll have more to say on what a series of measures could look like to support the industry. Today's conversation is going to play into that, and we're deeply aware of the impact of what this means in Western Canada. So to those who are involved in the canola industry from a producer level, we know the anxiety of the uncertainty of the market access right now and what this means. We have tools at our disposal. We know your value, and we're going to work hand in hand with the Government of Saskatchewan to see what we can do to mitigate the situation in the days ahead. So I'll leave it at that, and I don't know, Premier, would you want any comments from your ministers, or we'll just turn it over for any questions?
Seeing no questions. Seeing no questions.
Oh.